The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Spokane Valley Fire Department, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36566. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting at the front bumper, on the passenger side face of the front bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren. Just inside that location, passenger side, you'll find recessed electronic siren PA speaker. Moving to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find a tubbed storage location for hose storage. As we move to the outer edge on the driver's side, you'll find a swivel front discharge. Moving up onto the face of the cab, you'll find your unit identifier E4. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find the turn indicator marker light. Just inside of that location on the face of the front of your vehicle is where you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Directly above that, you'll find an additional structure housing a turn indicator arrow and also forward-facing emergency warning light. Directly above the Pierce logo is where you'll find your rotating emergency warning lights. As we move to the windshield, you'll find a seamless one-piece windshield. There are 3 windshield wipers. On the outer edge, you'll find a mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights, identification lights across the very top section. Also, you'll find 2 slightly angled forward-facing floodlights. Moving up onto the roof is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the very center is where you'll find the opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at some images here of your vehicle. We'll start first, full side view on the driver's side. Focus in on the cab section next. Move to the pump operator's area. The body section of the driver's side. Then we'll move to the rear of the apparatus. Move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle, full view. Focus in on the cab section. Passenger side pump panel. Passenger side body. This will give us a preview of where things are located as we move through this video orientation. First, let's start with the front of the front bumper extension. As we identified, you have a front storage location for additional hose storage. Moving over to the driver's side, front discharge, it is foam capable. General view of the front bumper extension, you'll find the side-facing emergency warning lights on the bumper extension. Let's move into the driver's section. Let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, all of our safety warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, window controls, and a grab handle. As we move to the step area, you'll find an air inlet. Just to the right of that location, you'll find the shoreline inlet. It is a 20 amp. It is red in color for the cover. As we move to the engine heater, which is right next to it, it is gray in color, also 20 amp. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area. Just below the seat area, about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll also find a foot pedal for the mechanical siren. Let's move to about the left knee of the operator, where you'll find at the very top section, quarter turn silver battery master switch. Moving to the right, you'll find the tech module. This is for your maintenance team. And then to the right of that, you'll find the engine transmission diagnostic port. As we move down, we have some switches here. Let's first start on the far left with ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. To the right, you'll find a plug-in for your display port, and then just beneath that, you'll find also the mechanical siren, the Q2B cutoff switch, which is a quarter turn isolator switch. Let's go ahead and move up from this location. Left side, once again, body door lock, also tire chains, fan clutch for your engine on and off switch, and also a load manager switch. To the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find your pump shift. You have instructions here from road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, illuminating before exiting the cab for pump operations. Let's take a look at the dash area. At the cluster on the left, you'll find your ignition and start switch. To the right of that location, a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. Engage and disengage all emergency lights with one switch. Headlight switch and panel switch. To the right, OK to engage the high indicator and switch. As we move up to the dash cluster, you'll find your transmission oil, def level, and water temperature. On the right-hand side, you're going to find front and rear air, and also fuel and volts. Located in the center is the speedometer and tachometer. You'll find diagnostic information regarding your apparatus will display above and also below the speedometer and tachometer, including in the window space. As we move just to the right of the operator general view, let's start first at the very top section. Your Pierce command zone, tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see your owner's manual for more information. Right next to it, your windshield wiper fluid, and apply windshield wiper fluid by pushing on the switch. We have an engine brake on-off, settings for low, medium, and high, off-road traction, and mirror heat. Moving just to the right, you'll find the yellow diamond, which is your parking brakes. Pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release. To the right, Allison transmission pad, digital readout, push button, informational note to pump and drive, also with some additional caution warning placards just to the right of the transmission push button. Let's move down from this location where you'll find your flat mirror and convex mirror control for passenger and driver side. As we move toward the center, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Also some switches here. Let's go through those. First, starting with front scene, driver side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, and perimeter lighting. Moving just to the right, you'll find USB ports. These are 2.4 amp outlets, and then also your siren brake for your EQ2B. Let's move up to the very top section. We have an informational placard here regarding the height 10 feet 0 inches, length 31 feet 11.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 45,000 pounds. If you make any changes to your vehicle that may alter any of these, please update this placard for the operator. Let's take a look just to the right of this placard. We have additional switches. First, we'll start on the left with the Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Further to the right, we have high beam flash, your Opticom switch, roto ray, siren brake, and radio master switch. Moving to the right, you'll find your siren control and PA module. As we move to the center of the cab area at the top, you're going to find a red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they are in the seat and belted. You'll also find your do not move your apparatus when this light is on, indicating open or ajar compartment or ladder rack down. Also in the center, you'll find your traffic advisor. As we move to the rear of the operator seat, you'll find this handle. This is your manual cab tilt. Also find a speaker located back here. This is for your backup camera system. Also, you'll find a volume control on the face of that speaker. When plugged into Shoreline Power, these outlets will become active. Let's move now to the rear section of the cab. As we move that direction, just over the front axle, you'll find a push button entry code, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels, and a visual sight indicator for the front axle. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find once again affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, door lock latch, window control and a grab handle, and an upper grab handle. Let's move into the cab area where you'll find one rear-facing non-SCBA seat and then 2 forward-facing SCBA seats. As we move to the center section where you'll find just below is a lift and turn latch, which will gain you access to the rear section of the engine for your oil and transmission daily checks. General view here of the rear cab wall where you'll find the 2 forward-facing SCBA style seats. In between, you'll find 12-volt access. As we move directly above, you may find these labels throughout the area of the cab. These are indicating a spare wiring. It's indicated by the option number, also the wire and termination type. As we look in between the 2 seats is where you'll find your power outlet, USB style 4.8 amp. As we move to the forward section, this is directly behind the driver and officer seat. You have additional storage location in the upper section, LED lighting inside the area. Let's go ahead and move to the exterior of the pump panel area. We'll first start in the very top section with our crosslays. There are 3 crosslays located here, number 1, number 2, and also a 2.5-inch crosslay. All of these are foam capable. As we move just to the lower section, you'll find an additional storage location. Then let's go ahead and move back up to the very top section where you'll find backboard storage also for 2 backboards. Moving to the pump panel area, we'll start in the gray module. This is your master intake gauge. Right next to it, you'll find the master discharge gauge. In between the two of those are the test gauge ports, vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and these are utilized for testing purposes. Let's go ahead and move down on the pump panel. We'll start on the far left. This is your fire pump primer, push to prime, air prime, instructions below 1000 RPMs for best practices. This is the flush manual mechanism for your tank A and also tank B. As we move to the right, you'll find foam tank A and foam tank B, one green, one yellow, indicating the difference between the two. Moving all the way to the very top section, you'll find the Wattress pump overheat indicator and visual indicator. Also, you'll find your foam pump module for Class A and Class B. That is the blue module. Moving just to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Then as we move down from this location, we're going to find all of our color-coded and labeled front discharge, crosslays 1, crosslay 2, and the 2.5-inch crosslay. Just to the right of that, you'll find the deluge discharge. It's a wheel valve. As you move further down, you'll find a twist, not pull. It's the engine cooler. Let's go ahead and move just to the right of this location. We'll start at the very top section with some switches for perimeter lighting and also scene lighting. Beneath that, you'll find an OK to pump indicator illuminating green. That's ensuring you've done all of your options in the cab for pump operations. It will indicate that your pump has properly been engaged at the pump panel. Also, driver rear discharge, non-foam capable, and then also a reel discharge. This is foam capable. We have the tank fill and tank to pump. And then just to the right, you'll find a water tank level indicator. Also in the green, you're going to find the large diameter discharge on the passenger side. As we move down, all of the other gauges will operate the 2.5 inches on the driver and passenger side. We'd like to point out a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, you'll find to the right the extend-a-gun up-down for your master stream device. Here are the 2 discharges, discharge 1 and discharge number 3. These are both 2.5 controlled locally. Also to the right, once again, the extend-a-gun up and down electric master stream device. The American flag Pierce logo is your large diameter pump inlet. To the right, you'll find the recirculating line. That's a twist, not a pull. And as we move down, you'll find your intake relief valve. This is for the adjustment of that pressure. Let's move down to the right where you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch locally controlled female inlet. And then you'll find some placards here. This is your Wattress placard indicating the type of pump you have, 1,500 GPM. Also, the minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over in the next few moments. To the right, you'll find your main pump drain, and then also your manual pump shift. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go ahead and move now down to the running board area where you'll find additional storage location for hose, also dry deck material, and also some Velcro straps. Moving just beneath the running board here, you'll find your relief valve drains. There are 3 located on here. Let's move back up to the top section here on the vertical side sheet is where you're going to find some additional information. Quick, just a reference back to the Wattress placard, 1,500. Now let's move to the minimum operation maintenance schedule. These are for test pressures 150, 200, and 250 PSI. The associated GPM is on the left side of the placard, and the associated RPM is located on the right side of the placard. We do have a governed speed of 2,400 and your 5-digit job number in the upper left-hand corner. Also, a warning placard located here. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after you've received proper training. Some additional placards here regarding your Foam Pro specifications and also instructions, and then also a fall, always face the vehicle while climbing onto the vehicle. Let's move into the compartments now. As we move into the very top section of this compartment here in the upper left, when plugged into shoreline power, your battery charging pro system will activate here, maintaining your batteries. As we move to the rear section, you'll find Scba bottle storage for 2 in front of the rear axle and 2 to the rear. You'll also find a pull-out and tilt downward shelf in the uppermost compartment. As we move back down to the very bottom, the blue cap is going to be your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank fill location. As we move to the rear section of the rear axle, Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. Let's move back up to the top section behind the pan door for Scba bottle storage. You have 2 Scba bottle storage. Just beneath that, your silver ultra low sulfur diesel fill locations. As we move to the next compartment back, you're going to find LED lighting on each side, adjustable shelving, and at the very bottom section, a pull-out tray. The release mechanism for that tray is located on the very far right-hand side of the tray itself. Also with inside this compartment, you're going to find shoreline outlets. When plugged into shoreline power, these will become active. General view here of the rear of the apparatus. Space saver is in the down position and the compartment is open. Let's start first with some warning placards. Pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. Also, when climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing onto it. Entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. That's why we have a warning placard. Recessed here is your backup camera. And then just to the right, we do have an additional warning. Should not ride on the vehicle while the vehicle is in motion. Let's move down on the rear section where you'll find the driver's side rear discharge. As we move down further, you'll find an adjustable shelf and a pull-out tray. You'll also find on the very far left-hand side an additional step. This will pull out and downward for gaining access. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle. All of our compartments are currently open here. We'll start in the very rear section of the apparatus. Adjustable shelving. As we look in the upper section of this compartment, you'll find additional outlets. These are once again shoreline outlets, so when you're plugged into shoreline power, they do become active. As we move to the midsection, you'll find Scba bottle storage for 4 Scba bottles. Additionally, up top, you're going to find an additional tray, adjustable. As we move down to the rear axle, you'll find once again Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. Let's take a look at those Scba bottle areas. 2 in front of the rear axle and 2 to the rear of the rear axle. Also like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be very careful where you park your vehicle. As we move to the forward compartment, an adjustable shelf and also a tray in the lower section. As we move to the top section of that compartment, shoreline outlet. Once again, plugged in shoreline power, this line becomes active. Here's the tray in its full extended position, release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side. As we move forward to the passenger side pump panel area, let's start at the very top section where you'll find that backboard storage for 2 backboards. Let's move downward and slightly to the left on the pump panel. You'll find a pan door. Behind that pan door are where your foam drains are located for foam tank A and foam tank B. Also, you'll find your cab lift. There's some caution and danger information, but also instructions on its operation. Entanglement hazard because the line's coming from this line, from this side of the truck, and then also your powered equipment rack for your ladders. We do have a danger placard here, also information regarding raise and lower instructions. Also, once again, fall hazard, always climb on the vehicle. Please face the vehicle while doing that. As we move down, you'll find the reel rewind switch and then also large diameter passenger side discharge and a 2.5-inch discharge. Down at the very bottom, all of our color-coded labeled discharge drains. Also the 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet. It is locally controlled female inlet. And then also your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir is located in the pan door. At the base, you're going to find dry deck material and also Velcro regarding your hose storage location in the running board area. And then just underneath that area, you're going to find your passenger side auxiliary inlet drain. Moving back up to the very top, same configuration. We have our 3 cross lays, cross lay 1, cross lay 2, and the 2.5-inch. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab now. Let's start at the rear section, where you'll find affixed to the door panel, once again, safety and warning placard information, our door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we look overhead, you'll find those two compartments on the outer edges directly behind the officer and driver seat, LED lighting inside those compartments. Let's take a general view of inside the cab area. Two forward-facing Scba seats, and then over on the driver's side, a rear-facing seat. As we move to the front axle, once again, Alcoa wheel, Michelin tires, and a visual sight gauge in the axle area. Let's move into the officer space, once again, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. Just before we get to that area, I would like to point out there's a side-facing camera and then also a push-button electronic entry. As we move to the step area, this is just below the door panel area, you'll find the location where you can plug in your cab tilt remote control. As we look inside to the officer's space, let's start first down at the floorboard. On the left-hand side floorboard is where you're going to find a foot pedal. This controls the mechanical siren. As we move up from that location, just under the seat, this is a storage location. Also currently stored here is the 15-foot cable for the cab tilt. Also on the dash area, we have a map light. Overhead, we have push on and off white or red lens lights. And as we look overhead into the front dash panel area, this is where you're going to find your Bluetooth, Sirius XM, CD player, weather band radio. Let's go ahead and go back outside of the vehicle. We'll start with the cab fully tilted in the upright position. And then the next set of images are going to be that of the chassis and engine area, just for educational purposes. Let's go ahead and move now to the cab area. We'll talk on the roof of the cab area. Even though there is diamond plate located here in four-way, this is a non-walking surface, and we identify that with these two warning placards on the passenger and driver side. As we move around to the rear of the apparatus, including the dunnage area, you'll find in the dunnage booster line and also master stream device. Further back, you're going to find our water tank fill location for tank A and tank B foam fill. Moving to the powered equipment rack, you're going to find your ladders located on this. We have a 14-foot roof and then also two 24-foot extension. Additionally, you have long-handled tool storage for pike poles. Also on the upper portion of the body, you'll find additional storage in the hatch compartments on the outer edge. Then let's go ahead and move back to the dunnage area, where you'll find the top fill location for foam tank A and B and also your water tank. I would like to point out we do have some warning placards here regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure.
Let's move back to the front section of the dunnage where you'll find your master stream device, extend the gun located here, electrically controlled from the pump panel. Also in this area, you're going to find your booster line. On the booster line itself, you'll find in the top section a location for a tool insert for electrical failure for rewind. And then also on the side, you'll find a tension for free spool tension. Congratulations, Spokane Valley Fire Department, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36566. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.